If your right eye causes you to sin, cut it off, gouge it out. If your right eye causes you to sin, gouge it out. It is better for you to enter the kingdom of heaven with one eye than for the rest of your body to be cast into hellfire. Okay, so what does this look like? According to Jesus, he told this to a group of people who are perpetually tempted by sexual immorality or other things that are causing them to, or covetousness, even having haughty eyes by being righteous and despising others by self righteousness, and by using the mistakes of others to glorify yourself, saying, look, me, I'm better than this person because I'm not doing that. And the other kind is covetousness or anything that tempts you to anger or sexual immorality, where Jesus says, if a right eye causes you to sin, cut it off. So, what does this look like in reality? I think that verse and the other one, which he says, if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better you lose a member of yourself than for the entire body to be cast in hellfire. I think understanding this, I suppose, is what he says is self control. And self control, the reason why he uses these examples as examples is that self control is extreme. And the stakes are really high because if sin doesn't destroy people because of how strong it is, it destroys people because of how much they tolerate it. If it comes down to it, if we ultimately decide not to do it, then it is not sin because we have not done it. And this looks like gouging out your eye or cutting off your hand is it's extremely painful. So in this, Jesus says sometimes you're going to have to do something extremely painful to cut out an aspect of your life, by the way. That's what by understanding that's what I've come to understand, that that's what he means by limbs, is that it is better for you to lose a member of yourself. So I suppose this he means what we do in life, we ultimately, directly and indirectly, identify with it. So if we identify with it, we assume it is an aspect of ourselves because we like something about it, or we do something about this, or we do that, or we say this, or we say that, or we do this. So when we're introducing things in our lives, they're becoming an aspect of our identity. So, and identifying with things is how we we normalize growing up in our character and what we like and what we don't like and who we are and who we are not. And gouging out an eye, from my experience, in what Jesus meant is doing something, removing an aspect of your life that's damaging your perspective on things. Like removing an aspect of your life that's leading you to do things that you know you're not supposed to do. Or in this, maybe on Instagram and all these other things where we're looking at pictures of you know what and all this other stuff. And these things stir up ideas. So I suppose gouging out your eye is cutting out the aspect of your life that's tempting you to do these things. And if that aspect of your life could be your feed, because if it's social media, of course we need the internet and all of this stuff, but not for the reasons we think we do. And because of that, you can have a social media if manageable, but filter out, remove out, change your feed to stop bringing in things that give you ideas to do things that you know you're not supposed to do. And if it's too difficult for you to have a social media feed without any of those things, and you're indirectly tempted one way or the other, then the problem isn't anymore on social media. It's you who have to eliminate an aspect of your life. And I think experiencing this, it's really hard. It really is. It has to be done, And I think this is where Jesus says it's extremely painful to gouge out your eye. So obviously, doing, if you've been using drugs as a solution to run away from something else in your life, or if I've been using, I don't know, a lot of things. Sometimes even eating and binge watching and binge eating can also be that, where you're filling up as much spike dopamine in your system, anything by all means to run away from something else. And you stopping that means you have to confront the very thing you're running away from, and it's a huge, strong surge of discomfort that comes when you're not numbing down the pain of what you're actually feeling. And that's gouging out, and that's obviously an example, a physical representation of the pain you feel once you gouge out your eye. In accordance to like this, so I suppose gouging out your eye, what Jesus meant is cutting out an aspect of your life, even though it will feel extremely uncomfortable and it will feel extremely unpleasant when you feel the precaution of cutting that out, because you've spent so much time in that lifestyle that when you disconnect from yourself from it, you'll have a huge distortion in your character. And it will hurt. It always does. I been struggling with insomnia because I quit a habit that was making it easier to sleep, but the habit was obviously a terrible one. And ever since then, I haven't been able to properly sleep in who knows how long. It's almost even been like 10 to almost even a year, actually. Almost. Not a year, but almost. Maybe 8 months or so. Because, but it had to happen though. And I feel like I'm being dismounted and opened up, but that's actually what's supposed to happen. And self control isn't just disconnecting aspects of your life that are causing you to sin, but replacing them with aspects of a new life, because you're a new creature, that support what you have chosen, that ultimately support what you have chosen. Sometimes we say we're Christians, but we live lifestyles that are not supporting that choice. Sometimes we say we trust in Jesus, but we're not living in a lifestyle that supports that choice, or that honors that choice, or that proves that choice. So self control. What does self control look like? From my experience, it looks like refraining from doing things which potentially seem as if they'll have a good outcome, but they won't. Maybe like lashing out to a person simply for the sake of lashing out, or when someone tempts you to anger, then you yell at, then you say the unthinkable, or sometimes even do the unthinkable. Self control is like an anchor that takes you away from things that look as if it seems good for you to do at the moment, but later on it damages you. It damages you, it damages your relationships with others, damages your relationship with God, it damages how you respond to many things in life. So I suppose one of the hardest things to do in life is to deny ourselves. That's one of the hardest things to do. And sometimes we think that by responding in a certain way in a particular situation, it makes things better, but it actually doesn't. And that's where self control comes in. I suppose it's supposed to protect us from doing things that seem good at the moment but will ultimately lead to regret. And that's the thing, it seems good according to us, but it doesn't seem good at all, and it isn't good at all according to God. So this is all goes back down again to trusting in God's definition of good rather than our definition of good. If your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off. It is better you lose a member of yourself than for the rest of the body to be cast into hellfire. If your right eye causes you to sin, gouge it out. It is better to enter the kingdom of heaven with one eye than for the rest of your body to be cast into hellfire. See you guys later.